Undeniable Chemistry. Chapter 1: The Reunion. The summer air was thick with warmth as the four women gathered in the secluded beach house they had rented for the weekend. It had been years since they all had been together like this, and the energy in the room was undeniable. Old friends, long-standing connections, but beneath the surface lay deeper feelings that none of them had fully acknowledged, until now. There was Lena, the bold and confident artist with a sharp tongue and a softer heart than she let on. Her dark, intense eyes always seemed to be calculating something just beneath the surface. Then there was Ava, the flirtatious and charming lawyer, always the life of the party, but with a vulnerability she only let a few people see. Grace, the shy and thoughtful doctor, often caught in her own world, and yet there was something magnetic about her quiet intensity. Finally, there was Harper, the free-spirited travel blogger, whose adventurous soul had a wild streak that intrigued everyone she met. They had arrived just as the sun began to set, its orange and pink hues casting a romantic glow over the beach. As the night unfolded, the tension between them became palpable, especially as old attractions resurfaced. Lena's gaze lingered on Ava, memories of their flirtatious college days bubbling to the surface. Ava caught the glance, her lips curling into a slow smile. "So, anyone up for a late-night swim?" Harper suggested, breaking the silence with a playful glint in her eye. She was already unbuttoning her blouse, revealing the hint of a bikini underneath. Grace's cheeks flushed slightly, but she didn't move away as Harper's fingers brushed against her arm. "I'm game," Lena replied, her gaze flicking between the women. "But let's make it interesting." She raised an eyebrow at Ava, who was already leaning closer, her body language full of promise. Chapter 2. The night heats up. The women found themselves at the edge of the water, the cool ocean lapping at their feet, the night air heavy with humidity and anticipation. It wasn't just the warm air that made Ava's skin tingle as she stood next to Lena, their hands brushing ever so slightly. Ava was the first to break the silence. "You know, Lena, I've missed us. We always had this thing between us." Her voice was low and sultry, the words dripping with suggestion. Lena turned, her eyes locking onto Ava's. "Oh, I remember," she said, her voice deeper, her hand sliding up Ava's arm with a deliberate slowness that made Ava shiver. "I've been waiting for the right moment to remind you." As the distance between their lips shrank, the air buzzed with an electric charge. When they kissed, it was like everything around them disappeared. Just the two of them and the intensity they had both been holding back for years. Meanwhile, Harper had pulled Grace into the water, their laughter echoing against the quiet night. Harper's wild spirit had always intrigued Grace, but she had never imagined Harper would notice her in this way. Yet here they were, standing chest-deep in the water, Harper's hands resting casually on Grace's waist, her breath brushing against Grace's neck as she whispered, "You're beautiful when you're nervous, you know that?" Grace's breath hitched, her heart pounding as Harper leaned in, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both tender and fiercely passionate. The moment took over, and suddenly Grace wasn't the shy, reserved woman she thought she was. She wrapped her arms around Harper, pulling her closer, their bodies tangling as the waves crashed around them. Chapter 3. The Morning After. The sun rose slowly over the horizon, casting a soft light across the beach. The women, now tangled in sheets and each other, woke up to a new sense of closeness. Ava lay next to Lena, her fingers tracing soft patterns on Lena's skin, savoring the quiet intimacy they had shared. "You think this changes everything?" Ava asked quietly, her voice full of uncertainty. Lena smiled, her hand reaching up to tuck a strand of Ava's hair behind her ear. "It already has," she said softly, leaning in to press a kiss to her forehead. "But that's not a bad thing." In the other room, Grace and Harper were wrapped up in each other. Harper's usual wild energy softened by the tenderness she felt for Grace. "I didn't expect this," Grace admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't want it to end." Harper grinned, pulling her closer. "Who said it has to? I'm not going anywhere." Chapter 4: Tensions Rise. As the weekend continued, the intensity between the women only grew. There were moments of light-hearted laughter, but there was also the undeniable chemistry that kept sparking between them. Old emotions came to the surface, some unresolved, others ready to be explored. Lena and Ava couldn't keep their hands off each other, their passion reigniting in stolen kisses and heated glances. Meanwhile, Grace found herself opening up to Harper in ways she never had with anyone else, their connection growing stronger with each passing moment. But with the passion came complications. As feelings deepened, insecurities arose. Ava, ever the flirt, found herself unsure about what Lena wanted, and Harper, though free-spirited, wondered if she could ever be enough for someone as grounded and serious as Grace. Chapter 5: The Breaking Point. It wasn't long before the tensions reached a boiling point. One night, as the women gathered around a fire pit, the air thick with unspoken emotions, Ava couldn't take it anymore. "You've always been like this, Lena," Ava said, her voice sharp, though her eyes betrayed the hurt she felt. "Hot one minute, distant the next. I can't keep up." Lena frowned, her walls going up instantly. "And you think you're easy to keep up with?" she shot back. "Always flirting, but never committing. I don't know where I stand with you either." As their argument escalated, Grace and Harper exchanged worried glances. The perfect weekend was starting to unravel, and neither of them wanted to lose what they had found. Chapter 6: The Resolution. But love, real love, had a way of bringing them back together. As the night wore on, apologies were made and raw, honest conversations took place. Lena admitted her fears of vulnerability, and Ava promised to be more open. Grace and Harper, too, found strength in their differences, realizing that their connection was deeper than any insecurity they might have. By the end of the weekend, the four women were closer than they had ever been. They knew that whatever happened next, they had something special, something worth holding on to. The end.